Alright, welcome back everyone. We're up to game 2 here between EGIncontrol and Sheth for the FXOpen Invitational. This is a round 1 upper bracket match. These are best of 3. So it is currently 1-0 to Sheth. If EGIncontrol can't bring it back in this game, he will be knocked into the lower bracket for today. It is a 2-day event here for this one, and it is going to be 4 rounds of the upper bracket, 5 rounds of the lower, and then we will proceed to the finals, etc. tomorrow. I am Unstable, joined here by Wolf, and we are going to see close airspawn positions for this one.
Yeah, there's definitely in control mentioning that he forgot his gas last game, which really did have a pretty big impact on that game. But at these positions, we could see a lot of Void Ray harass, could see a Void Ray into expand build from in control, but I don't think that's really his style. There is a possibility that it could happen though. And
Yeah,
Sheth mentioning that he's a bit concerned about the Colossus last game. Last game, that we had that little engagement there at the end that actually could have gone in Control's favor, but Sheth just had really good positioning. And it just really came down to him having those overlords and spreading the creep. He did just such a nice job with that.
Yeah, definitely. That build that he does has been pretty hard countered if he does miss that timing by a few seconds. Because once that 1 or 2 Colossi is at it, they really melt those Hydras apart. It was very unlucky for EGIncontrol to have that Colossus sniped at the very beginning of that engagement. And again, the Overlords really do serve as some kind of cannon fodder for Sheth in that build as well. He does overproduce a few just to keep that creep highway going, and especially since he had those spine crawlers out the front, he was going to be moving them in as well. So, I don't know, Sheth has shown that he can do a variety of different builds, and that is certainly one of his favourite to punish some Colossi or fast expand Colossi builds coming from Protoss, but he can also do pretty much anything he wants. He is a very smart player. He did reach A rank in Brood War, so no doubt his mechanics are there as well, but looks like he is not going to be able to get his expand just like first game. It's very unfortunate.
Yeah, it looks like he did decide to go pool first from the outset, but now he's going to want to expand, and in control is not going to have any of that. And, we've seen this pylon block kind of become popular really recently. It was popular in the beta for a while, but people stopped doing it for a while because I don't know why, but you just notice that trend that people stopped doing it a little bit. Now you see them do it a lot more, and it's just like a coming back trend, and it's very annoying for Zerg players.
Yeah,
And of
it's
course,
something I
Chef's
think you
gonna
have
take
to
it out
do
with
though.
those Zerglings.
Yeah,
It
definitely
is,
doesn't.
it's something
Yeah,
you have to do because if you don't, if you face falling behind very quickly, and it's so cheap to block the hatchery, you get so much benefit from doing that with that pylon.
yeah, definitely. Sheth will be pushing forward with a couple of links here to try and be a thorn in control side on his ramp, just like he did in game 1. He doesn't have as many lings this time, and a sentry is on the way, so he will be able to force field those lings in and take them out if he's not careful. But in control, whoa, I was going to say he did have his rally point in the wrong spot there for a second, but he has fixed that up. That sentry is going to pop out. If he's lucky enough to catch all these lings with a force field, he could actually take most of them out, if not all of them.
Yeah, you should be able to control this pretty well. And it looks like in control might not have had a tight wall up there. It's hard to see, but I don't think he does. And that's a little bit risky, but of course it's hard for Sheth to tell that. And I wouldn't just risk it. But it does look like he doesn't have a tight wall up there, which is kind of nerve-wracking. And he is going to add on an additional gateway. Does have 2 gas ups, so he has 3 gateways coming up now. And it's probably going to be that 3-gate sentry expand that's been so popular, especially on this map. Since the roach range increase, it's very difficult to force fast expand here. Very risky.
Yeah, definitely. That really did shut down a lot of that kind of build because it's just nowhere near as safe, and you invest so much into those cannons that if they're just not, they're not as effective, and especially since the roaches do take a lot of hits from them as well with their high HP, and it's just not cost efficient or even, I don't think it's practical anymore to even do it. But we do have EGIncontrol doing another scout, doesn't want to see if that lair tech is up, but currently Sheth is just droning really, really hard.
Yeah, and he's doing a nice job of picking off that probe there. I also noticed earlier he was sending a bunch of Zerglings around to check for forward proxy pylons just to make sure that no shenanigans like last game would be going on. He checked almost everywhere near his base with those Zerglings, so really nice scouting. And it looks like in control's warp gates research is finished. Overlord going to be picked off here, trying to come in here to see how many gateways he has. The gateways are spread out pretty nicely. and he's not going to be sure whether or not it's a sentry expand or a 4-gate quite yet until he scouts up with these links to see a lot of sentries.
He
Which
does
I
see,
think he
yeah,
just
5
did.
sentries. That has to be an expand. That many this early and only on 3-gate. I can definitely see an expand coming in his future. But we do have a Roach Warren going down right at the front of Sheth's natural. I believe that's just going to be trying to avoid any kind of observer that should be coming into the main base fairly soon. Or what, not soon, but once the robotics facility gets up. And there goes the expansion for EGIncontrol. So it's going to be up to Sheth to see how he responds. He's continuing to drone fairly hard. He's at 38 drones to 27 probes right now. And he's getting his lair.
Yeah, I think Sheth is reacting properly to this. I'd like to see him destroy those destructible rocks and prepare to take a third soon. Because he's not going to be able to break this expansion for a while. And he does check with these Zerglings to see how many sentries there are.
Yeah, that is
Tries
a
to
lot of
force
sentries.
fields a little bit.
Well, keep in mind, because those sentries were out very early, he will have a lot of energy on
Yeah,
them.
absolutely.
And that's four force fields per sentry. That's quite a few. And that can really shut down any kind of aggression that Sheth can even consider doing right now. But we do have that lair
Yeah,
finishing up for Sheth. He's getting his extra gas. I'm not sure whether he's going to go for Hydras again or he's going to go into Muta. But realistically, either one is viable for him right now. But no, he looks like he's getting glial reconstitution, which is that roach speed, and pumping out a few roaches as well. And burrow. So burrowed roach is coming in. Interesting.
I suspect what we're going to see is him take a third here with this drone that's going over to the left. There's going to be a little bit of a hidden third, probably at the natural at 9 o'clock. Yeah, that's exactly what he's going to do with that drone. And he's going to use speed roaches and burrow to kind of have map control, force observers to be around whenever EGIncontrol wants to move out. Because if you pop roaches up under those sentries, the force fields, of course, become useless practically because the roaches are going to be attacking you anyways on top of your army. And it's going to allow him to drone up on that third base, and he can take a fourth at that high yield expansion when the time comes for that. And I think it's a pretty good, safe reaction to what EGIncontrol is doing.
We do have that robotic facility going up in the back of the natural there. As EGIncontrol, he's trying to push out, but I really think he's just wary of this of those speedlings getting in behind his sentries. He really wants to stay there, but he will have good map vision now from that Xel'Naga tower. He will be able to stop any kind of run by from those links. Lots and lots of roaches coming out though, as Sheth is still ahead in the eco, but there are no, Colossi aren't going to be here anywhere time soon, and I think he's going to punish this kind of build from EGIncontrol with this many roaches right now.
Yeah, his burrow has finished, and he's researching burrowed movement right now. And that is going to be a very hard force to reckon with. Of course, EGIncontrol teching right now, and didn't get an immortal out, but he does have that observer on the way, which is going to help deal with those roaches burrowed. But still, sentries of course are terrible against roaches. Some speedlings trying to sneak in here. There is a photon cannon, picks off most of them, and the last zealot will clean them up.
That's something you don't see a lot.
Oh, he burrowed it actually. That was unusual. But
well, unfortunately, there was that observer there. And it looks like... But that does reveal his burrow tech, so maybe EGIncontrol might be wary of some kind of roach push here. He will be able to burrow under the force fields, making them not as effective. It looks like EGIncontrol going for it here. He wants to go and push forward. He's going to really be scared once he sees this amount of roaches. And here we go, EGIncontrol doing some great force fields, not wasting any. Does keep a lot of those roaches out, kicking off a lot, but unfortunately the zealots are at the front getting poked off there. Interesting that Sheth isn't deciding to burrow. The tunneling crawls isn't done yet, so that's very unfortunate for him. And great force fields by EGIncontrol so far, and he still has 4 sentries full of energy.
Yeah, I like what EGIncontrol is doing here. He just keeps using those sentries to force field the roaches back and engage them. Where he has an advantage, he picks them off, makes their numbers smaller and smaller every time. And he's just really reducing the roach numbers significantly. And you know, Sheth probably shouldn't be forcing this engagement anymore. He's losing more than he's damaging, really. And those were just perfect force fields. This little middle of the map here on Lost Temple is a great place for EGIncontrol to engage and abuse the terrain with those force fields. And that was just beautiful play by EGIncontrol there. Love those force fields. He has an immortal out now. He's got the observer. And Sheth's push here probably should be thwarted.
Yeah, he does have that tunneling clause. It's about finished now. There we go. It's done now. He will be able to not nullify these force fields, but definitely get around them at least, as we do have more immortals. Another Colossi coming out here, not as effective, but here we go. Here's the Contaminate on that Robotics Bay. That is going to delay that Colossi by 30 seconds. that is pretty much an extra 30% build time for that Colossi. As we have a look, Sheth's still ahead in all of this eco. He's getting gassed at his third base now. We are seeing some upgrades come out from him as well as some Hydra Tech coming. So, oh no, looks like we're going for a burrow under the force fields. He is going to snipe a lot of these sentries. And Sheth wisely just sniping sentries and pulling back. He does have that Hydra at the front, which unfortunately won't do a lot. And I think he's a little overextended himself here, though. These Stalkers are melting a lot of these roaches. I think he really needs to pull back. That tunneling corpse was a little bit later than he expected.
Keep in mind that EGIncontrol does have 1-1 upgrades on his units as well. He does have the attack and the armor. And Sheth not with the missile attack upgrade quite yet. And I think he is going to back up here a little bit, think about taking a 4th base. But he's producing a lot of roaches right now. And I think that's a good choice. I believe he saw the Colossus, which is going to make him really want to cut back on Hydra's production. Because burrowed roaches actually do pretty well against Colossus rather. And you can pop up under them, especially if you can snipe that observer somehow, which is very difficult to do. But if you can catch your opponent off guard with no observer, you can do a lot of damage that way if you burrow your roaches appropriately. He is getting a Spire, which is also a good choice.
Yeah, he will need those Corruptors to help deal with that. He's getting a second Evo Chamber for more upgrades. I think he's realized that EGIncontrol is at 1-1 at the moment. More Roaches and Hydras coming in. He's at 157 supply versus the 129 of EGIncontrol. He doesn't actually have this Watchtower. But here we go. He does see this army moving in. The Roaches coming to the front and Ling's coming around at the back. They will catch this Colossi off guard here, but EGIncontrol wisely moving it to the top of that ramp. There's a nice concave here of Roaches, but I think there's just too many units for EGIncontrol. And we do have Lings coming in from the back. That's going to even things up greatly. And he needs to snipe these sentries if he can, and looks like he will thwart this attack by EGIncontrol with the great use of the Lings coming from behind.
Yeah, EGIncontrol actually looking like he's not in the best spot here. Did lose a lot of his units, and I think he's kind of surprised. He's like, wow, how do you have that many units? And, he tried to push forward there, and now he's just barely holding this push off. Sheth is going to back up. There's too many Colossi, and you look at the HP of those units, like a few more swipes, so taking those out. So good choice to back up there. The missile attack finished during that battle as well, and that really helped out Sheth turn the tide of that battle, especially when those Lings came in, like you said. And EGIncontrol is trying to produce more and more units. So it looks like he still is on 4 gateways. So he's not going to be able to get as many gateway units. No, he does have those 2 at the front of his national. So he has 6 gateways. And his 3rd base is going up with the high yield expansion, which is going to help him significantly. But Sheth taking a 4th base there at the 9 o'clock position. Skipping taking that high yield for now. Doesn't want to move his army out of position to hit those rocks. Good choice.
I like how Sheth has actually borrowed most of his Roaches in case something does come across and go for a scout. We do have EGIncontrol getting a lot more Zealots than before. He does not have any of the leg speed upgrade, which is really useful in these situations versus a lot of Roaches as well. But we do have +1 for air flyer attacks coming from Sheth to help deal with these Colossi. He does have a lot of Corruptors out now. And I don't actually see an infestation pit from him, so he's going to be happy sitting at tier 2 for a while. We are at 126 supply for EGIncontrol. We're at 168 for Sheth. So it looks like he's going to take advantage of this situation while EGIncontrol's out of position, chasing this Overseer to go and hit the gold expansion here.
Yeah, he's going to move forward here with a lot of these Roaches. Decides to back up. Might be a good choice. And I think what he was really trying to do is just catch a Colossus or 2 out of position. He was hoping maybe only the Stalkers would go after the Overseer, and he'd be able to catch a Colossus out of position with those Corruptors, but it was not to be. And EGIncontrol is researching Blink right now, so choosing Blink over Charge. I think a pretty good decision. Makes his army a lot more mobile. He may decide to get charged later, and we're going to see Sheth try to do a little bit of a flank attack here from the side, but EGIncontrol, of course, wise to this, going to force Sheth to turn around. He is going to put the
borrowed Ling here.
We might see him attack.
Yeah, absolutely. There is a burrowed Ling at the 4th base that EGIncontrol is about to try and take. That is going to be very frustrating for him. There's also one at this one over here. But here we go. Looks like EGIncontrol is going to be forcing the issue at the moment. Sheth does have a lot of Roaches here. Force field's going down everywhere. There are a lot of Corruptors, though. They're going to snipe these Colossi pretty easily. There is almost over 10 Corruptors, and the Colossi drop really, really fast. And EGIncontrol just being overpowered here by all these Roaches. With +2 weapon upgrades, EGIncontrol is at 1-2. But so many units for Sheth. And a well played coming from EGIncontrol, so Sheth will take this one 2-0.
Yeah, that was actually